Welcome to Dayton Warcry Club. I'm Warren, and today I'm joined by special guests Mike Sansom and Robert Viscomi. Tonight we'll be talking about all the latest Warcry news and reveals from the past month, including the Nova Open, and then do a rundown of all the winning lists from Nova as well, including a breakdown from Robert, who is the runner-up at the event. We also have several upcoming local events to announce, as well as other organizers' events coming up across the country we'd like to tell you about. All coming up on this episode of Dayton Warcry Club. Hey, good evening, guys. How's it going?
What's up?
What's going on, man?
So we got a little change in guests tonight here. I got Mike Sansom from Wisconsin on tonight, and we got him as a kind of a special guest co-host. And we also happen to luck into having Robert Viscomi on, who plays well at the Nova Open. So he's a fan of the show. Great to have you guys on.
Thanks, man. Super happy to be here, man.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Excited to see it from this side for once.
Yeah, I run a pretty smooth operation, I think. So
so far, so good.
Yeah, before we get started, but anytime I have someone new on, I do like to kind of like get their background, like their gaming background. So like, what are the games that you play? What got you into Warhammer or Warcry or something like that? So, Mike, how about you go first?
Yeah, so I've been a nerd my whole life, and used to buy D&D books and read them without anybody to play with. So just always loved living in the fantasy worlds. Started playing more the last couple of years, probably like 5 years ago. Got a local group together, got into minis. Nobody else was really into them, but I got deep into them, and then slowly dipped my toe outside of the WizKids waters and more into the GW waters, and that was it. I was fully immersed, baptized in the GW lake, I guess. Ocean, maybe, probably ocean. And yeah, got super lucky that there's a ton of folks locally. The Dogs of Warcry guys live in the same town as I do, so I was messing with models and saw that there's a tournament going on, or an event really going on last year after Adepticon, where they were basically replaying the event. Decided to reach out and been playing pretty much every single week ever since.
Yeah, and Madison has like a big AOS group as well. And I assume there's probably also a decent like 40K kill team community as well. I know there's a lot of gaming in Madison in general.
Yeah, there's a ton. There's like Tundra Tactics that they do a lot of 40K stuff. There's a huge there's a huge Underworlds community within like the whole Mortal Realms community as well. They do like they do the story phase work. They do what's the other one? Path to Glory, the other one too. So yeah, bunch of really good guys, awesome people to play with, awesome people to chat with, and yeah, nice to have them nearby.
Okay. And then Robert, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in gaming, and what got you into Warhammer and Warcry.
I'm out of New Jersey, which is pretty much just the armpit of America, and you think we'd have a lot more gaming communities here, and we don't. We have a lot of kill team, a lot of 40K, a lot of sweaty, aggressive people, and that's kind of where I grew up in these breeding pits of anger and excess, which is kind of awesome. So I grew a thick skin of handling people. But really, I started off as a little kid in my brother's room. I'd sneak in his room, and I'm talking early 90s, he would have these Blood Bowl. And it was like the resin figures and the cards. And I just remember being 8 years old and obsessively reading stats, not knowing what they did, but just memorizing stats for factions. And like that was super cool to me. And, not having money, not having other kids to play with in that area, I grew up, and then eventually I got into AOS. I tried Kill Team. I tried a skirmish game called Guild Ball, and then eventually I just turned around and someone's like, hey, you like trying different AOS armies, why don't you try Warcry? And I got hooked because it was, are you telling me I don't have to spend $600 in months of painting? I could just play whatever I want, whenever I want. And it just drew me in right away. The simplicity of the rules, the just fluid gameplay, 40-minute rounds really complemented my life as a father of three. So that kind of got me in there. And I've been working on trying to grow the local community up by teaching a lot of the AOS players, like, hey, take your AOS bands. You don't have to spend a dime. I got all the terrain, and we've been going from there. Even got a couple kill team converts, got people a lot more calmer, not as angry. It's been great, and that's where I'm at.
You mentioned Guild Ball. Isn't it the skirmish game that was like insanely skill based?
Oh yeah, man. I have a penchant for just wanting to know rules like a psychopath, and that game was one of the hardest games I think I've ever played in my life, and it was also one of the most fun games until it self detonated on itself.
Yeah, because it was exactly that. It was like chess. It was the better player would always win. There was like very little luck at all.
Yeah, it was nothing but learning how to stack, balance resources, and just manipulate everything in front of you. And it was basically murder soccer, and
Mhm.
either you just beat the whole team down or you scored 3 goals to win. And you just kind of played to whatever your guild was. And I'll tell you what, like it was so easy to manipulate dice, like you said. Everything came down to how much well do you know what you want to do and where you want to go. That it was just repetition and grind and knowing what the open-endedness of the rules were.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is attractive to me, but then again, like you said, the game self imploded because if you're new coming in, you would learn the game, and I heard like stories like you might win your first game because they let you win, and then you wouldn't win a game for like another like 2 years until you got good enough to like actually like beat people.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. You'd play what was called a demo game of like 3-on-3, and like usually you would win those games and be like, wow, this is great. You're riding that high. It's only buy a box in and then you're set and buy some things, and the next thing you know, you're spending the next year just eating dirt. Like it's hard.
Get good the
Awesome.
game.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Stop being bad. The game. That's what it is.
yeah. I'm glad Warcry is a little more newbie friendly, so we can hopefully grow the game, the community that way. So
Oh, for sure. It's for sure way more accessible, and it's also just way more fun to teach. You can teach the rules in like 10 minutes and just go and have fun.
yeah, I taught it a couple weeks ago actually. Anyway, so for tonight, won't put you on the spot. Plus, I haven't done any hobby either, so no hobby update. But we got a lot of news to cover since our last one. So we have all the Nova previews to cover. The new Bladeborn warbands got published as well. We can talk a little about that for a little bit, but then really the main focus is going to be the Nova Tourney results, and then we also got some upcoming events to talk about as well. But let's get to it. So Nova Open, we got to see the Hunter and Hunted, and so we found out that the next warband is actually going to be essentially a double box. You get the Gorgers, you get the Wilder Hunt core, and you also get this Maw Pit involved. This Maw Pit included as well. So I'm pretty stoked to see this. The terrain piece I kind of like.
I
I
love
like
it.
both of the war bands.
That terrain piece is, it's so evocative, and I've been slowly trying to build up truly psychotic tendencies here, but I'm trying to make a board for every single map icon there is in the Gnarlwood and the Eater Pits one. I just want like 5 of these things to throw on a board.
Yeah, and I'm getting deeper into my backlog of Gur terrain as well now. So
Just keeps growing. It's like growing into an actual forest now.
yep. Well, see, if I keep on waiting and waiting and waiting, eventually they'll stop making that stuff, and then I can finally stop and do it all at the same time and have it all be the same scheme. That's
There you
that's
go.
the secret plan.
That's awesome. That sounds so sick. This box though, just the dogs alone are enough to beckon anybody to come. Be like, we got dogs here. We got some dogs. We got a big maw pit. We're ready to
Yep,
go.
you
Like,
get
just look at these war bands, man.
5
They're
dogs.
awesome.
Yep. So yeah, we previewed these, and so here we got more pictures of them. I like these guys. They're cool. Look, we don't know anything about their stats, but these guys, I could use these for Mordheim or something like that. So I love that vibe. You got an Arbalester. But then here we didn't know about these. So the Gorger Maw Pack, and so there's a typical Gorger for you. So all these guys are probably gonna be some variation on this profile, about 200 points, 5 models that you get. So I'm looking forward to these guys too. It's going to be an interesting. I don't know how interesting it'd be head to head, but in terms of like having something. I mean, they've been doing something different for a lot of these new war bands. I'm really digging it.
I'm just really excited. It's more pieces for Destruction Soup, and it replaces the windmill slam dunk gorger made out of resin, 50 pounds. And they give you different options, and I think I'm
Oh
amped
yeah.
about this. I'm so amped about it. You have no idea.
Yeah, we
It's
don't know what
just-
the stats are, but the leader, yeah, whatever the stats of the leader are, if he's good or has unique abilities for his points cost or something like that, yeah, he could be something you slot in.
Those veins in that forearm's it's telling me 3-6 all day.
they gotta hit hard, right? You can't have ogres that are just pillow fisted and out here tickling people. They gotta be able to smash, especially with. I mean, I'm really hoping that GW has figured out why questers weren't that good competitively, and it wasn't necessarily the numbers, although it definitely hurts. But like, if you can't get activation advantage back through removing models, you're just in really bad shape. You know, the abilities you can only really count on getting like 2 extra, maybe 3 per round if you're really lucky and have good wild dice management. But like, yeah, these guys have got to be able to just crush. And if at worst they're all similar profiles to that gorger, man, I'm stoked to play all this crew. And there's the second one from the left. There's some conjecture out there about that being our first female ogre. She's got kind of like a almost like a brassiere of jawbones going on, which is kind of fun. Kind of exciting to have a female model in there too.
I'd highlight it, but don't want to get in trouble here.
That's fair. That's fair.
some crude
that one's
drawings.
crazy because it's got 6 fingers on one hand and 6 toes on one foot too.
Listen, there's a sock for every foot, and that's my foot.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for these to come out. So as of the time we're recording, still no update on them going in, or still no update on them getting announced for a Saturday pre-order yet. But any week now.
Oh, I'm so
hopefully
excited.
sooner rather than later. Can't wait to get my hands on these guys.
Ooh, this is the money right here, though. Let's talk about the real things that matter.
Yep. So here's the Iron Jaws. So we got a whole lot of Iron Jaws previews. Some characters, couple new versions of brutes. So if you didn't have brutes already or wanted different ones, so these you have another option for a was it Jacob Gorhaka there on the left.
Oh yeah, that's a good, like a proxy farm. That's a good idea.
The poses are what's really interesting, because I don't know if you're familiar with Morgoth's crushes, right? You see the dudes on the center on the left one who's leaping off with the 2-section club, and then you see the same similar pose all the way on the right picture. Those are very similar to the poses that they used in the Morgoth's crushes that are now a out of print Underworld warband. It's like $90 to get a box if you can find one for 3 models. And I'm super stoked they're going back to this very dynamic brute that's just more than just a guy sitting there looking like, come at me with some armor and some weapons. These are awesome looking.
Those models are crazy to try to find. I was looking online the other day and they're like $80 for the white box without even like the Underworlds cards if you want them. So yeah, for sure, being able to get some proxies for those.
Another thing I was really interested in seeing is this. The Hard Boys glow up here.
Oh my god.
Yep. So the two-hander, it looks like the two-handed option is not there. Everything, they all have shields, but the weapon and shield ones look great. Spear and shield is a new one for Warcry that doesn't exist, but yeah, replacing some old sculpts there, some old Warhammer Fantasy era sculpts.
Are you familiar with the old Hard Boys?
AKA Black Orcs, yes.
Yeah, with the 7-inch thick metal skirts that go underneath that look horrible when you paint them. I have about roughly 40, 50 Ard Boys downstairs from playing Big Wog. And I'm going to give you a surprise ending where they're going after I get the first 2 boxes. They're going straight to the trash because these models are unbelievable. I don't even care if they have the profile in Warcry. We're putting them in there, we're cutting it up, and we're putting some weapons, and they're just going to have shield profile.
I saw someone talking about it a day or two ago, and I think Warren. I think you're right. I don't think there's any option without a shield in the box. Everybody's nice and strapped up with those big pieces to keep them safe. So that's what they're just here. They're defenders. They're just trying to keep themselves safe.
But looking at it, you could probably do some sort of kit bash, right? Not use the shield arms, source some other left arms, and probably get something that gets the point across of having a two-hander. I think you could probably still do that.
1000%, Ken.
That's kind of wild that they're all left-handed shields too. I'm just looking at that. That makes the kit bash way harder, just from the single box.
Yeah, because no dual wheels either. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brutal, but worth it. Still so pretty.
Still, just the helmet alone and like the poses, the dynamics, like casting of it is just so much more worth it than the other art boys.
Got the double jawbone antenna on that guy up in the right corner there.
For sure.
Getting the signal for the walk coming in.
Right. Full 5G on the back. We're not going to skip a beat.
So other previews of interest, I always take interest in the new Warhammer Underworld sets because these are sculpts that we could see Warcry rules for. And so we got a Slaanesh warband, which looks pretty sweet. And we got some Eineth Deepkin as well.
We get Slaanesh demons too, which I feel like that's the first time they've popped up in Underworlds at all.
Yep, that's right, because Dread Pageant was mortals.
Mm-hmm.
Sibrites, yeah.
That squid though, I mean, yeah, that boxing squid, I'm here for it. That the thralls look incredible. The jellyfish on like the leader's base, like it's the worst part is they're gonna suck so much because they're all in Ideneth. So that's just the rules. You're gonna get a beast that can probably fight okay. So it's an auto include because everything else is not doing anything important besides like 2 models. And then the thralls, they'll give you 1 extra wound just to make sure that IDK stay below average.
And they'll charge you like 20 extra points for the extra wound and 1 extra movement.
Yeah,
right.
And it's still better than taking the regular model.
Yeah. They're awesome looking now. The Slaanesh demons are something that are pretty unreal looking. Like they make me uncomfortable looking at it. I don't know why. It's very unsettling. But if they can get some rules over for it, man, I mean that's pretty awesome. Plus IDK can kind of just flex with having fish, squid, and crabs, even if they're bad. Like who cares? You got a zoo, you got an aquarium on your team.
Right. This is the worst name they've done, in my opinion, in Underworlds though. Death Gorge, like I think it's supposed to be in the is it Antor, the northern part of Gur, or at least the colder part of Gur. And I was like trying to guess names, fun, cool, like like Chasm and Chill and all this kind of stuff, and they were like just Death Gorge, like it. it was inelegant like for what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's just the next metal band name. Like that's right.
All. I mean, that squid, though, dress up as a bunch of squid with your metal band. That'd be kind of sick.
That is pretty sick. The other dude's got jellyfish, too. Like, let's go with
those
that.
Things. Sending them, too. Get out there.
Sending them, bro. You got the jellyfish attacks. It's going to be a triple. Roll 2 dice. It's going to be 1 to 2 damage on 4 to 5s. Value of dice on the 6. You know it.
Yeah, I do. The lore kind of stuff that they had in the article about the demons was kind of cool. I can't remember the names of them, but the leader's supposed to be like super like slothful, basically, like just the crazy laziest demon that ever has been, which is just a fun take on Slaanesh. I don't feel like we've seen.
Oh yeah, because it's all about excess, right? It's not necessarily lust, like everyone associates with it.
Right. And it's even like kind of a pivot from is it Glutos, the really big model they have.
It's the centerpiece one.
Mm-hmm. And he's like more like, I don't know, I take him as being a little more like indulgent and just gorging himself. And this one isn't necessarily just consuming stuff, but just being lazy, just kicking it. It's full on weekend mode Slaanesh demons.
I mean, Warren hit the nail on the head, right? It's excess. It's not just lust. Everyone's like, oh, it's got to be sexy demon crab ladies. When it's really just the excess of nothingness, the excess of violence, the excess of lust, the excess of just sloth. It's awesome, and they're really exploring a different boundary with it, which I think is awesome.
I mean, like you said, though, sock for every foot, right? I mean, someone's finding these demons sexy.
We're gonna keep
Oh,
going
man.
back to that all episode, aren't we?
Yeah, it's gonna be like
we can't
the
avoid
guy
it.
on the left. I haven't looked away from him in like 5 minutes. I'm just really upset about it.
I appreciate they
So-
put the crab claw in there too. Had to be for the water style. Get some more claws.
So speaking of Underworlds, also we finally got some more Underworlds rules here. So
Ooh.
we got a Tzeentch Demons. We got a some Stormcast. I can't remember which chamber. They're
Thunderstrike.
They're Thunderstrike.
Yeah.
We got some Night Haunt. So the Night Haunt guy, he's like a big executioner, like the executioner profile. A couple little guys with some abilities to kind of pump him up. Some weird Tzeentch abilities.
Rob and I spent a lot of time looking at these together, and we are in love. I think with all of them. Would you say, Rob? Almost everything that's come out.
I think
in these
I've
Underworlds?
tested everything here at least 5 times in different lists already on TTS with these guys, including except for Scabix. I haven't played Scabix, but we already know what's going on with that. So this is there anything that grabbed your eye, Warren, about any of these guys?
These guys, no.
Really?
What's
Oh,
if you had to play one?
You know
that-
me, because I'm all about these guys.
One of those. One of those.
One of those guys. These guys look awesome. Here's their profiles. So on Discord, folks haven't been doing a lot of brewing or putting the other ones in lists, but there's everybody been brewing Skaven lists with Scabix Plague Pack. And
it's the triple, baby.
yeah,
Scabix
there's
a
some
nasty boy.
interesting abilities. Yeah, the triple being the big one. Couple free actions. If you have a big guy, say a Storm Fiend, you can giving extra attack action to a Storm Fiend is good, plus an extra attack to the user itself, Scabix.
I don't think you can give it to anything other than the Plague Pack guys. I think it has to be one of the ones with the Scabix Plague Pack.
Oh, you're right. Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
yeah, obviously, hands down winner if you're giving Storm Fiends actions.
Oh, man.
Let's stop
Storm
playing the
Fiend,
game and all buy rats
Jesus.
now.
I was going to say it's a one-piece combo, though. So you could just use it on himself and give himself 2 extra attacks and just go berserk.
Yeah. You can bless him for the extra strength, too, is what we were talking about. You ally him into anything in chaos, and all of a sudden it's like attack. Like, you throw in, you're throwing 16 dice at that point? Like, geez.
Yeah, just wild what the output can be. And like, I mean, that 2-inch range is really nice too. But like, if you, I definitely think strength is probably a blessing if you can get it on there. Just because otherwise, chaff is going to start.
Up to 4-4-2-4.
Yeah, but like four dice at 2-4 damage. It's just wild when you can do that 4 times in a round.
So some of the other models, they're interesting. So like Ponxlix and Ricket. So I noticed that what they are is they're essentially the same profiles as regular Plague Monks. As if you took a regular 75-point Plague Monk. I'm sorry, they're not 75 anymore. They're 80. You took a regular 80-point Plague Monk and paid the 15 points for the +4 wound blessing. You get these guys. But these guys are 5 points cheaper than you taking a regular Plague Monk and doing that. So I still don't think they're great, because paying 90 points for a chaff model is still way too much. But at least it's a better deal than most of the chaff that you have available to buy for Skaven. It's getting to the point now where the only chaff model I really like in Skaven now is the Storm Vermin with Shield. Because he has some durability to him.
Yeah.
And again, you're focusing on your big guys to do your work for you.
What's crazy in this is that Skritter isn't a beast. He's carrying that little rockaroony, little treasure boy, so he can scuttle about and grab all the goodies as well, which is really, really interesting. It's definitely it's a terrifying model to put on the battlefield, because if you drop it, I'm pretty sure he dies with those 4 wounds and 2 toughness. But just kind of a neat. I appreciate when they make weird profiles like that really complement the model. And Underworlds is so good for that. And these guys really do feel like, I mean, honestly, everything that I think came out with this. This is probably my favorite release that they've done for Underworld's rules, just because everything is so kind of weird and thematic in a way that really aligns with how the models feel like they should play.
Yeah, I'm in the market for this for sure, just because, even if I don't play them in a tournament list, like just to have them in the collection, have them paint them up, because I got started in Warcry with Skaven. I painted up 13 Plague Monks, and you could play 13 Plague Monks in a list.
Oh my god!
When I first started.
Back
So this is
in the
this
dark
is like
days of
harkening back to that.
1.0. Oh my
Yep.
god!
Yeah, in 1.0, they were 70 points apiece.
And then your giant rats that you could also just ruin people's days with.
I didn't even have giant rats. I just had 13 Plague Monks.
Oh, so you weren't total scum.
12 plus a speaker of the word.
Oh my god!
He's got that ability to just negate abilities, right? Can't pop abilities near him.
I only ever used it for lead from the back.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have like 3 or 4 Plague Monks around a guy, and then you're popping lead from the back and giving 3 or 4 guys the extra attacks. They got they didn't do a lot of damage, but it was like the crit fishing. It was all about crit fishing. It was gross.
For sure. I mean, when counter didn't exist, way nicer.
Did you ever have a friend that's like, oh man, we live in such a bad time? I think when people say that, they're like, yeah, well, they didn't have counter and there was 12 Plague Monks. We live in a good time. We're okay. We're safe right now.
We didn't have swarms of 14 spiders on
for sure. There wasn't some maniac spamming 7 boxes of snakes. So we're fine. We're okay, guys.
So talking about tournaments though, let's talk about the tournament format a little bit. And it looks like I needed to fill this one out a little bit more, but we're going to talk about tournament format a little bit. I'll fix it in post. And so this is kind of a unique format. And you'll see the results here. They're we put them in order of match wins. And there's a pretty clear first, second, third for the tournament. But the way this played out, if you weren't familiar, Justin from Tabletop and Beyond was the organizer for this format. He and Jason. And they ran it 3 rounds of Swiss. So everyone was put in groups, kind of like pool play for a soccer tournament or a rugby tournament. And there's 3 rounds of Swiss. And at the end of the 3 rounds, they took all of the first ranked members from each pod, and they put them together in a single elim bracket, and all the second place players from each pod, and all of the third place players from each pod, all the way down. And so I focused, most of the winning results focused on the folks that went 3-0 in their first pod, and then how they played out. But it was very possible for someone to maybe say go 2-1 and win their bracket and get covered here as well. Rob, so you played in this. What was your take on this format?
So this was my second tournament ever for Warcry, but having played like Magic the Gathering and playing sports growing up with just Swiss style formats for tournaments, this felt super refreshing and super fun, and made planning for the tournament like quintessential. I loved this format for everything.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and like from the outside looking in, I couldn't play in the tournament. I was signed up for it, but had work things come up, so I wasn't able to make it the day of the tournament. But it's not how I would run it, but actually having seen the coverage on this. And oh, by the way, if check out Tabletop and Beyond. They have a YouTube channel. They have podcasts. They did an episode before Nova going over all of these lists in depth as well. And then they also did a tournament after Nova with kind of like their results and the after action too. So really good coverage, a lot of coverage from Tabletop Beyond, the Winning Warcry episodes on that. But Justin had said, he put a lot of work he put a lot of thought into this. And he also did a survey of everyone that played afterwards, and it was, really trying to get a feel from the players what they thought of it. And I really appreciate that, though, because it's one thing for me or someone else who couldn't play in the tournament, or observers online to kind of say, well, that's not the way you should run a tournament. But if the people that were in it had fun with it and they come back, that's Justin's most important metric to go by. So, if the people are with them, then I stand by his decision.
It was really cool. He had a a Google sheet that he was updating everything on throughout the day, and kind of impromptu. Dan from the Salty Sea and I were both not as busy that day as maybe we could have been, and we're just kind of watching all the updates and giving a pseudo commentary on how everything was
live
playing
update.
out. Yeah, that was super fun. I really appreciated that Justin made that available. Watching him enter the scores was so dramatic, and especially in a format that I felt really complemented creating drama. It was really effective at doing that. So that was really, really cool to see kind of how everything played out in real time in a little more intimate way than I think you can see in like BCP and stuff like that. So yeah, that was super fun. Any TOs that want to do that, make sure you post those links so we can watch and creep on what's going on.
Yeah, in a slightly more perfect world, where I can't play a tournament, I could support a tournament doing coverage, like either live video coverage or play-by-play or something like that. That's something we haven't seen yet something we haven't really seen a whole lot of in Warcry. I try to do what I can, if I'm there to watch a final game, and I'll put a bunch of pictures up on Discord and kind of do some live play-by-play commentary. But there's really a lot going on here for this final round.
Well, you got in there for the last 3 activations of the championship game too. So that was really cool to get even more intimate of what's going on while Rob was playing.
my skill is showing up in the very final round of the tournament, because I think that's what happened last year as well. I got to Nova right in the final round.
Right when the work's done, Warren gets there.
I have two major days of the year. I have graduation and I have student orientation, and it just so happens that both of them fall the day before major Warcry tournaments at conventions.
Oh, life is cruel.
Yep,
that's awful. I think before I even knew who you were, you were coming up taking pictures, and I saw this guy come up taking pictures, and I like looked back, and I'm like, who's taking pictures of this? And someone's like, oh, don't worry about it. That's the warden from Dayton Warcry Club. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't even know. I was like, oh, that seems good. It seems normal. But prior to that, I think I was so into it, it didn't click until like I looked up and saw it. I was so locked in and laser focused that like when I saw you step back with the camera, I was like taken back for a second. I thought that was awesome that you came there to even snap a couple things. And speaking of live coverage, we were talking to Justin and Jason, and we're like, hey, next time you do this, we should have like the top table should be right next to you with some cameras to just live stream the top table or the top place table for whoever's there. I think that'd be really interesting too.
Yeah, in a perfect world, you have like a feature match live stream. A lot of other games they had similar setups there.
Yeah.
But hopefully we keep growing. We can get there. I think it'd be really cool. I think with what's going on with Tabletop Simulator, it's been great. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit, but being able to watch people's games while they're playing it live, people kind enough to stream it so that everybody can see it, has been a really cool experience to just bond with the community and just get to watch people play, get to see more games. If you got the time to lock in and watch sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hour games.
Yeah, big chess match.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, sweaty.
Real
sweaty. So speaking of sweaty, sweatiest player in the room has to be Justin Orton, 2-time Nova champ now. And so here's his list. And again, so I'll read the list here. If you're not familiar, it's what he played at Adepticon. I'll read it out as well. Keep in mind, if the best place to catch us is on YouTube, but if you're just listening on the podcast version, he ran 2 Gut Lords, 2 Brugets, and he had a handful of Underworlds models as well. He had Quiv, Bushwhacka, Lugden Thwack, Shriek, and then a single Noblar for 995 points. And so the Gut Lord, he calls the list Double Trouble. So it's built around Gut Lords and Brugets. Gut Lord has a base profile 36510, which is crazy. and with a Brugit goes up to five attacks or 6 attacks, and could pretty much one shot any fighter in the game if you set it up right. And then everything else is just simply having models on the board to contest objectives.
This was the same one he brought to Adepticon too. I remember when.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, when he and Dan from Salty Sea were playing, I was actually right next to him, and I was playing my buddy Joe from town here. We ended up matching up and watched more of their game than we played ours. To be honest, it was fun to see those guys versus the Chimera last time. And it's a really tried and true format right now, right? We've seen this a ton. That Brugit's pumping stuff up is just it clears models, right? You're cleaning stuff off the board in a hurry and using those super efficient little Noblars and Underworlds models from the different warbands from there. They help you fill out that list really well. So I mean, it's gonna kill holes through most lists.
Yep. Yeah. And if you remember at Adepticon, Justin made an attack against Salty's Chimera, didn't kill the Chimera, and wound up probably being the pivotal point in the game. So not having gone against the Chimera this time around, but I think you did give him a pretty good fight, right, Rob?
Yeah, it was really interesting. So when I looked at the list and like I saw him take it, and I saw him come up against me. My list fares well into anything that wants to run into me or anything that wants to stay away from me. And he sent one Gut Lord right into me right off the rip, trying to be very aggressive to lock out shots from Hrothgorn. And so he presents a threat for a threat, and pretty much he triggered all my reactions. We get each other down. I think and I have 40 wounds on Hrothgorn. We get each other down real low to the point where when this Gut Lord went to attack on turn 2 off a rampage, I double countered and we killed each other. And
wow.
That
double
was
down,
that.
baby.
That was,
double down.
I think that's where I started watching the game, because when I think the first time I remember looking at your table state, there was one Gut Lord off the table and Hrothgorn off the table.
Right. So at that point, it became, can I keep away from a Gut Lord and remove all the little pieces, which I was doing really well. And it came down to a couple things at the end, and it was there. And I think I never saw the. Everyone sweats about the Brugits. He had 2 Brugits, and he didn't Loon Shrine Potion one of them once. And if you don't give any type of setup or you take tempo away from any type of Brugit or any type of model that wants to pop something to set up, like fight for profit and then go in, it really disrupts them. However, the 5/10 profile is just enough to just, 1-2 tap something or anything in general. So it was pretty interesting where the later rounds of 3 and 4 became his Gut Lord trying to chew up my smaller stuff, and my bosses trying to chew up his smaller stuff, and then just kind of switch and control objective and points and try to keep it up that way.
Those Brugits with ogres in particular, as well as stuff like, I mean, anything that's got a free move on a double, essentially. Ogres have the plus, was it +3 on the mall path for the first action? It lets you, like, Brugits, you're projecting what you're gonna do, right? You show, hey, here's where I'm gonna start swinging. This list, it's pretty easy to see where the swings are gonna start coming from, but it's just so hard to get away from an ogre that's moving 7, threatening 2 inches from there, and then swinging 6 attacks that, again, enough to kill just about any single model in the game with 1 or 2 attacks. So it's just even though it shows kind of a simpler approach for what you're doing, it is so heavy-handed in that approach. It's just, what's your plan? It's just to keep throwing tiny things at it and slow it down until the game's over and outplay them elsewhere, or kill it.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's also, they are toughness 5, 32 wounds, but if you do commit a couple pieces, you can remove it. I mean, Hrothgorn enough, even in, like, I think once I couldn't disengage and shoot him, and it just became a melee slugfest. It was enough. 32 wounds can go quick if things are kind of being pumped into it. And it's like you just said, like they have the 2-inch reach, and if I'm seeing them use on the maw path, I know they're not doing the might makes right. So I just throw a little knobbler in front, and he could chew that up all day, and he's not going to get the second activation, and it lets me push around and set up. But they're just horrifying because it's just one move,
Yeah, when things go
effectively a
bad.
9-inch threat. Yeah.
Yeah, when things go bad, they can chain react and get very, very bad.
Yeah.
And this was one of the 4 objective missions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, this was a Rumble Pack mission.
Yep,
I do believe.
Rumble Pack objective mission. So the numbers do matter here. But again, yeah, congrats to Justin. Easily, his record speaks for himself. This tournament and others, probably the best Warcry player in the world. Everywhere he's been with this.
The results are there.
Yep. So Rob, here's your list. So you ran Kruleboyz. You ran Kill a Boss with Flail. You had 3 Gut Rippas with the spears. He had an Ardboy boss, which is actually a pretty solid fighter as well. And then 300 points, he had Hrothgorn Man Trapper. And then a supporting cast of Shank, Quiv, and Bushwhacka.
Yeah, this was the masterpiece of soup that I came to hone and craft after months of obsessively just plugging in things into different things and seeing what works.
I love that we got a Quiv Bushwhacka mirror match in the final too. Anytime little things. When I played Peter at Adepticon, we had a prog off, and they literally got to engage and fight each other at one point. So yeah, did Quiv and Bushwhacka ever get into a scrap, or did they avoid each other?
Oh no, they all the little green dudes ran away from each other. We just we called each other men of culture because we both had the same 2 of them. We were proud of each other for being the people to run 2 out of front underworld war bands and have fun with it. It was definitely a really awesome list to run, and to see people's faces when they like read the Man Trapper card was pretty satisfying for most of it.
Yeah, so being a 1.0 profile, most of the range profiles in the game got scaled way back in 2.0, right? Thunderfists don't do what they used to do. They used to be one of the scariest range attacks in the game. And Hrothgorn, at 2 attacks, strength 6, 4/8. I usually don't like pro models with a 2 attack profile, but at strength 6, you're usually hitting on 3s. 4/8 is like one of the strongest range attacks in the game now. So even though it wasn't great by 1.0 standards and 2.0 standards, it's easily one of the most one of the most powerful range attacks in the game here. And that's setting aside all the abilities that you can use to give them extra attacks. So I know they covered this on Tabletop and Beyond, but talk through some of the tricks that you had at your disposal, Rob.
Oh man. So pretty much like you said, I agree with you. Anything that wants to throw 2 dice, rip croc scores, I'm not going to really touch or want to play because it's too unreliable, and 1 whiff would be enough. And even on a 4/8 profile, hitting on 3s, like there's a couple times where I've rolled like a 2 and a 1. It's going to happen. But what gave me the most mileage for him, I had to ask what is going to let me fire him off more, other than just Quiv giving him the triple to fire again, other than the might makes right. And when I read Cunning Trap, it was pretty much, it doesn't say fighter makes a bonus melee attack. It says makes a bonus attack action, must target the fighter move action. So I just said, hey, heck, if I put a Rippa in this in front of him, 3 inches in front of him, I'm all the way back. And if somebody with a move 3 profile, which a lot of people were running, ends up not engaged with them, I'm playing kill team and I'm overwatching right into that. And then when you're taking 4, 8, 12, or 16 damage possibly, trying to move into me, I act like a castle without having to set anything up. So I protect my artillery piece and punish you for coming into my lane. And also the free reactions on top of the kill a boss or on top of the Ardboy boss would also try to punish you from trying to play aggressive into other positions. The second game I went against KO, and he used a Mizzen Master turn one, went a million miles, and took a treasure on my side of the board. And I ran up 4 with Hrothgorn, shot him, did 12 damage, came up with Quiv after another activation. Here you go, boss, which is the triple, which is on the screen. Shot him again for another 12 damage, killed his Mizzen Master turn one, threw his treasure, and then after that point, it just became the Hrothgorn show. So those were the things that were there. The sneaky snares, which is on the bottom of the screen, was the other one that I just kind of wanted to be a hipster and play something that was a little bit cooler and unseen. And I just ran him up on a suicide mission, bushwhacker, 40 points for 8 wounds, better than a regular Noblar. Ran him up on the first turn if he was out in deployment, and I threw that trap token right in the middle of their deployment zone. So they'd deploy on top of it, and they would have to move over, and someone would have to activate it. And I had a little orphan Annie trigger it. That was my draw round, but he triggered it, and I rolled boxcars, did 12 damage off the rip for him just moving on his turn.
Just
So
12 damage for, what is it, a double for 12 damage on an Annihilator without being engaged or anything.
with a 40-point model, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was just lots of ways to play an offensive control variant that didn't need to set up. And I like the soup because it just let me kind of play to what it was and figure out the mission packs and kind of just go from there. So I mean, this was all about, if you want to stay with me, stay away from me, I'm going to pick you apart with Mantrapper and move in and eventually take your stuff. If you want to come into me, I'm going to trigger free activations and I'm just going to start either swinging or blasting you. So that's really what it came down to, was just how can I abuse action economy while maintaining tempo at a high rate.
The action economy in this is just, it's wild what you can generate. Like I play a ton of elite lists, and anytime you can get those extra actions on those big models or action equivalents on those big models is obviously fantastic because they're such valuable actions and activations. And just your synergy that you had with this is just truly incredible to watch, and it's just such a great idea that obviously not only just a great idea, but like it works on the table. It's such a fun list to see kind of come out of nowhere too. Nobody was really talking about it. I had one guy locally that had been messing around with Hrothgorn that had some cool ideas and was just trying to plug him in and figure it out, and then saw someone else talking about it too. But this is, I think, the one of the best versions of what this list can possibly do.
I appreciate that a lot. I mean, it's a fun list, and I think one of the best part about the lists is after you realize what the cunning trap does, and after you see what can happen and the stats, it became an instant headache for people. Like, I just looked at people's faces, and it just becomes another level of stress, which makes it so hard to play against in a tournament setting. Like, I'll never run this in a narrative or a casual setting where I'm playing with friends, but in the tournament setting, where I have a lot of reps with it and people are unfamiliar with it, have to take an extra minute or two and spend mental energy to really look and analyze how it's going to play. It definitely swings things in my factor pretty well. And I'm going to probably keep going on as more releases come out and keep tweaking and keep playing with it, because it is a soup list.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a base for a soup list, right? You have solid chaff here. You know, we talked about gut rippers with spears. It's only a matter of time until someone kind of breaks them because of how good they are, right? 75 points for 15 wounds, decent mobility. You look at the points on the Killaboss, 5425, 28 wounds, move 4, all for 190 points. That's a pretty good rate. And you just kind of pick and choose.
For wolves and toughness, it's so nice to just have them around. They just kind of they're gonna outlast a lot of things.
Yep, and this isn't the only Kruleboyz list that we're going to see here either. I forget why I put Shank here. I must have mixed up rune marks or something like that. Is Shank there for points, or did he have an ability to? I know he's a chief.
He has a net.
Oh, okay, yep, he did have a net as well. Okay,
Yeah.
I just pulled the wrong. No, I did this right. So Shank has the sneaky snares ability.
Yeah. Shank. I'm sorry. Shank does have that. Yeah.
Bushwhacker has the trap. Bushwhacker delays the trap.
Yes.
But he can go with Hrothgorn.
Right.
There's also
See,
like
I unconditionally trusted you there.
So so that is truly a suicide net with 6 wounds.
Right. He's got 4 toughness though. I've shrugged up things and hobbled away. Like it's not unrealistic, and sometimes like I'll use it to just. He also is a reaction base too, because he is a Kruleboyz, because he's part of Manic's Cunning Squad. People want to come in and annihilate my net because it's a net, and it's like, oh well, you trigger kill a boss, or you're triggering the Ardboy boss, and all of a sudden it's I'm coming in to remove your 55 point model, and all of a sudden I'm leaving with like 4-6 damage, sometimes more than that. And was it worth it at that point? And if he's still alive, then it's just, well, I'm gonna get netted, and then everybody's just gonna do what they have to do.
That net's so good too on a 2-up. Like, yeah,
2-up, yeah.
It's other than what is it?
Yeah, it's a strong
the True
net.
Blood that's auto net. Like, it's just you got a 1 in 6 chance of it not going off, so you can pretty regularly rely on that.
At the risk of revealing all of your secrets, for Cunning Trap, is it possible sometimes for people to play around Cunning Trap? So say, for example, Hrothgorn has a 1-inch melee attack and a 3-inch minimum range. You could set up a move potentially, as long as you're laning, say, within 2 inches of Hrothgorn, you actually can't trigger the trap, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly how you'd get around it.
But there might be certain positions where you can sort of force that to happen, though.
Yeah. Most of the time, looking at what they have for their deployment is going to affect how far back I deploy the Rippa. And there's a couple times that I had on terrain Hrothgorn 3 inches directly above the base of the Rippa, and then they would step into the 3-inch range of uh, the Rippa, and then Hrothgorn would just be able to fire from top down, like no problem. It definitely is. That's the way to do it, though, is to bog me down and get inside that donut, or get inside and just take a punch from him instead of the 4-8. That's definitely the way to do it. And it's happened. But it's hard to get. It's easier said than done to do that, because I'm going to make sure I position accordingly to what abilities and what your move speed is.
When the Gut Rippa being able to, I mean, it's only 2 attacks, but you have 2-inch range on that, and you usually have Quiv in there as well. So you got another 2-inch range attacker. So, and again, they're not necessarily cranking out damage, but those little planking crits can really help soften stuff up. So unless it's like a big scary dragon that's zipped in here and has high tough, high wounds, all that kind of stuff, between the 3 of them, you can usually probably loosen Hrothgorn up to start plugging away again and start just gunning people down across the board.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Quiv has been surprisingly, those little dudes, like, you get a quick crit for 4 damage, people not expecting it. There's just a lot of things going there.
Like skeletons and Soulblight, when they start critting, you're like, oh, this is not fun anymore. I thought these were just little chaff guys.
Right. Where am I?
So in order to get here, you play against someone else who's also a master of very, very nuanced soup lists. You played against Peter Mercencabbage.
Mm-hmm. That was the sweatiest, best chess game of Warcry that I've ever played. And he and I talked a lot prior to this about building our list. So he knew what I was coming with. I knew what he was coming with. It wasn't it wasn't a surprise to either of us of what was happening or what was going on. But when we played a first game, my first tournament ever was at ACO, and he played me, and he didn't even take me out on a date first. He just completely ruined me, and it felt super bad. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel taken care of or safe. He turn 1 rampaged a bounder boss, destroyed 2 of my chaff, burned objectives, and won the game on turn 2. And I was like, what just happened? Like, what level of
He's
gameplay
trying
is
to cut
this?
back on that. He supposedly got fair dice, and he's
No, he does. That's what I played him
it's supposed
with.
to happen less.
His super gravity dice at $12 a die, and he's a magician wizard with them. The dude is outstanding table manners. The dude is
Oh,
just
yeah.
a class act.
Absolutely.
He's enjoyable. He's polite, and he's probably one of the best damn Warcry players I've ever played against, and probably will ever play against. So for my second tournament to go up and go against him, it was super interesting, and it was on a Reaper out of all missions.
Yep.
I feel like
So
how
this
nice
was-
Peter is like the worst part about him, because he kicks your butt and then he's just smiling and super nice the whole time. And you got nothing you can't be mad about anything. You're like, this guy's
No.
he's got it all going on, and I'm just gonna have to take this L.
I knew better this time. I knew 100% better this time. We were both bright red, sweating, just dripping in thought, playing to time, and it was just. Even though I came in second, being able to get a he told me out of 30 games or something he played in tournaments this year, he's only had 3 losses, and me being one of them. That felt like the biggest win of the tournament to me, was being able to play somebody that I like looked up to, list built with, and knew that they were going to play every single activation with utmost care. Guy was amazing.
Yeah, I think I can name. I know Javi beat him at ACO.
Yeah.
And I don't know who he lost. I think he lost to either Dan. He would have had to have lost to. No, I don't think he
No,
didn't play
at
either Dan or
at
Justin at Adepticon, did he?
Adepticon, he and I tied, and I think that was what pulled him out. I think he had maybe
Yep.
a minor win as well, but yeah, he and I tied in the 3rd round.
Yep.
And then
he didn't lose at my tournament either. He drew with Fred.
And he came second in Adepticon because of that, because Dan had all wins, and then he had the second best record, I think. Well,
Oh yeah, he's been on a tear since he recracked the code on Gits after Nova last year. He came back, dusted himself off, and yeah, he's been on a tear ever since.
It's so cool to see just how he built the list too. Like, you look at it and like there's stuff in here that a lot of it like makes sense in just like if you're building a Gits list. Like Snurk, I think is a lot of people shy away from just because of the low wounds. But the way Peter plays that deployment is just unreal. It's so cool. He explained it to me, and I was just in a slack jaw. I was like, that is so cool. That is so brilliant.
Yeah, it's all the nuance and the positioning and everything else like that.
And Prague's in it, so it's an auto win, right? Prague showing up. It's a good list.
It made it all but more worthwhile to, I think, in one turn. I think what decided it was I disengaged from an Ardboy boss, rampage, killed a bounder boss with Hrothgorn, turned and got the second fire off, and killed Prague or Staba with net, whatever it was, one of them. And I was just like, well, we're here now, sir. And then Snurk Sourtongue quickly deleted an Ardboy boss with like one act. I was like, well, okay, but here we are.
There's nothing worse than staring down the barrel of a Brewgated Snurk, just start whirling that ball at you when you know it's coming. Then what is it? How many dice does he normally have? 3, I think. So he's chucking 6 dice, and you're ready to get splatted.
So before we get to the rest of the list here, we'll cover Javi here as well as the other as the 4th member of the top table, but a pretty clear first, second, third. We actually had so best overall though went to Michael Glazer. He went 4-1, and painting scores, combination painting scores and overall scores. I don't think I had pictures of his, but I heard he had a whole lot of votes for best painted. But his KO list looked really solid. So he ran Mizzen Master. Rob, you played him too. Yeah, he played Mizzen Master. His secret tech is Enric Iron Hail. The 1.0 volley gun profile on there. The Endra Master with Endra and Harness as a melee threat. An Ether Cannon that we see in a lot of KO lists. And then Arcanauts with Skypike, one of those, and 6 Arcanauts with pistols. 995 points, 11 models.
The pictures are out there. I think I'll see if I can find them
they're
and share them with
gorgeous.
you, Warren. It's incredible. He made it like this like treasure chest kind of looking thing too. It was
I think they're in Discord. Yeah, I might have to go dig. I put a lot of work into putting these together, but I always miss things, and sometimes I put them in post. So maybe we'll get this.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'll help you find it too.
I remember his story. It was like they were looking for the lost ale of like the dude, and it was just like so unreal and immersive. And the diorama was this like open treasure chest or side of an ale barrel, it looked like, and it was just gleaming gold. It was gorgeous, and I was just like, my God, like it was the coolest thing I think I've ever seen for like a diorama for a dude just to roll up with it, have a kick-ass story, have an awesome warband, and like he was really enjoyable to play against. He was a fun guy.
It's kind of an innovative KO list from what we've seen. It kind of diversifies in a way that I don't feel like I've seen a ton of KO lists do, with the Skypike in there. It's got a little more melee threat and not just kind of really dumping everything into the Aether cannons, which is cool.
Yeah. I'm used to seeing a single Skypike in the lists. Yeah, you're right. It's not double Aether cannon. It's not double Aether cannon, double. So you do have access to double fight for profit, but usually the Mizzen Master is probably gonna be flying around doing other stuff.
Yeah, and I mean Enric just launching BBs across the board, 15 inches, just plinking at stuff wherever he wants it, basically. So that was a cool pickup in there.
Yeah, that's a profile I forgot about, because volley guns, the six attack profile, that's gone from 2.0 for the most part. Fumigators have something close, I think.
Yep.
No, not fumigators, either chemists. They have something close, but volley guns all have 3 attacks now.
And it's not something I think, like if I was building KO, I don't think I would bother going and looking in the Tome of Champions to look at the profiles, because they're all move 3 guys, right? So you just assume that they're going to be worse in this.
No, but that one probably still holds up. You you look at it in a vacuum. Yeah, I'd pay 125 or 120 points for that.
Yeah, he's got 14 wounds, which is cool too. But yeah, that 15 range, when you can project like that, even though you're only 1/3 damage, that 6 dice, it's going to be, there's only 2 factions in the game that can counter those attacks, and it's mirror game versus KO, or what's the city's one?
Great water fastness.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, those are the only ones that can do range counter. So you're usually pretty safe just chucking those pretty weak attacks at stuff. And Dan and I were joking when in the final game, because this was the second bracket, I think. In the final game that Michael played was against Alexander, and so it was the dwarf off in the year of the dwarf, and Michael got to be the dwarf king of Nova. He beat the other good dwarf list. Got the crown.
Well, all right. That's it for all the lists we have this week. Up next, upcoming events. So I'm going to plug mine here first. I already have my next 3 events laid in for the 4th quarter of this year. October 15th, we're going to be running tournament practice. Stay tuned on the Discord or on the local Discords for the location for that. November 12th, we will be doing tourney practice as well. It's going to be one of 2 stores, either Epic Loot or at Dragon's Guild Hall in Beaver Creek. And then I've put in the request to get the store championship at Epic Loot on December 3rd. So this is a store championship tournament with the glass trophy from the organized play pack. And so the 2 events leading up to that, we're going to run probably 3 rounds of Swiss and actually do pairings and kind of stick to the rules a little bit more. Going into this, we were just kind of doing some open play, but now we're going to add a little more formality to it. And again, I'm going to run my the championship tournament there at Epic Loot there. If you're interested in coming to Dayton, the rules locally we have in effect. We have no monsters. We find that monsters are not conducive towards new players. They make the game all about the monsters. We like to play good, honest Warcry. We've been using the Salty Seas title pack for the missions lately. And we are continuing to use the blessings rules from White Dwarf 490. So you have those options available to you.
I'm in love with your rules in effect. The no monsters, title pack, blessing. I think that's phenomenal.
Are you gonna play the flexi blessings, or are you gonna go?
We're gonna that's a great question. We're gonna play the blessings as they are in the magazine. Yes, they are the flex blessings as originally intended, not how they're being done at Warhammer World.
Yeah, I really like the flexibility of it, just because there's, at least for the normal models, you got the flexibility for 4 different blessings for 15 points, and so it's so cool to be able to line up against somebody and have that ability to know which of those you want to do. Do you want wounds? You want toughness? You want strength? Or do you want move? And then, yeah, most of the versions I've seen people playing with, they're playing hard and fast with just nope, pick it beforehand. So I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see that. Yeah, lock it up beforehand. But I'll see if I can get down there, Warren.
Yeah, you got some advance notice here.
I owe you a trip. You were here. I gotta get you back. Gotta come on your turf.
Well, if you don't make it to this, I promise I'm gonna be doing something even bigger next year.
Ooh, tantalizing.
Oh,
I love it. The foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. But yeah, I like the blessings. I really want to kind of continue to explore that to see how much strategic depth they bring to the game. But more important than my events, we got a whole lot of other events going on here across the country too. We're going to kind of run these down too. Details are going to be in the show notes. So coming up here this weekend, hopefully this episode is going to go up in time, but September 30th, Saturday, the Gnarled Goose Chase at Game Center in St. Paul. This is Salty's tournament. He's added some narrative rules there as well, involving chasing down geese and getting some bonus points in the missions.
I'm excited.
Mike,
I'm heading up there for it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm going. Like I think I said before, Eric is heading up, and I think he's bringing his son, and then I think Vint is also coming from Dogs of Warcry. So it's going to be, we got a little, not quite as big as last time, where I think we brought 7 people. But yeah, I'm stoked to get up there again. I've been slowly talking to some more folks that live up that way, and excited to get to see everybody and playing. I love the pack, the goose, the whole principle behind it sounds really fun. So very, very much looking forward to that event. As of recording, I've got what is it? 3.5 days to finish green stuffing and then paint all of my models. So I think I'm ahead of schedule compared to my normal tournament outputs.
Is it the project you've been working on?
This is gonna be my WWE Spire Tyrants, or my wrestling Spire Tyrants. Technically, one of them's not a WWE wrestler, so
you're gonna be finishing this Friday night then.
I will probably be still working on it. The tournament starts at 10, so if I'm done by 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, I'll feel pretty good about myself. The paint might still be a little tacky, but hey, as long as they're on the table.
Man.
I'm gonna be real with you. It took a lot of restraint for me to ask if that was a real goose you were chasing. I had to really sit back and think about that, which is embarrassing. But
so it's gonna be, if I recall correctly, there's gonna be an animal on each table. I think. I don't know if they're all gonna be actually geese. I don't know if Dan's loaded up on just goose minis, but I think one thing can pick it up, and then every time you attack a fighter, I can't remember if it has to be successful or not, but every time you attack the fighter with the goose, you take the goose from them. I was list building a little bit with Vint the other day, trying to plan some stuff out with him, and he's building a list that is exclusively targeting trying to get the goose no matter what. He is going to try to win awesome. I don't know what the award will be, but most goosest probably.
Super good.
Yeah, so looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about it. All right, next up. So I got the right guys on for this. So this weekend also, I think you guys are going to be starting an online Discord league, the 2nd season of it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's true.
Kicking off.
Tell me about that.
Go, Rob.
pretty much we saw such positive effects and outcomes from the first league when Salty ran it. And when we found out he was going to be running his next one in November, we immediately wanted to keep running with the momentum. And we went from, I think, 10 or 12 up to 17 currently. And our rosters are not due till the 29th. It's one game a week. It's all the flexibility in the world for that. And it brought a community so much closer together. It's been crazy. People
Mhm.
streaming games, having fun. It's free to enter. All you got to do is just show up, follow the rules, be chill, and it's been a outstanding success so far. And the fact that the best part about it is you don't have to paint, you don't have to glue. You just show up, load your stuff in, and you're good to play.
Yeah, it's been really incredible being able to play internationally with people, and it gets a little tricky with scheduling sometimes. But we tried to structure this one a little more intentionally so that you have kind of the week you get the matchup at the beginning of the week, assuming we don't get everybody hasn't finished their games a little bit earlier, but so you should be able to kind of plan for the weekends, and then also having like the Monday available for people to try to get their games in. So try to give as much flexibility and prep time for people to before they get to before they have to play their game. So yeah, it's been so exciting. Like Rob's been a huge TTS guy for a while now, and Javi as well. And I'm late to the party, but I'm 2 feet in completely. It's such an incredible tool. Hood on the Discord, can't give him any more props for what he's built here, and then Ziggy Stardust on the Discord too. He's been helping out. Just it's the energy is it's crackling right now. It's really cool that so many amazing people, like every time it's like when you get to go to a con or something like that and you play with so many cool fun people. It's just doing that every week. You get to meet someone new. You kind of I've kept up with the 4 opponents that I've had so far, kind of messaging them on the side and stuff like that, say hey, good luck with your games, all that kind of stuff. So it really is, it feels so much more interactive with the community instead of just talking to strangers on Discord all day about the game. You get to play those games with them and you just get those more personal experiences with them, and you can test out some wacky stuff. You can get as sweaty or as chill as you want with those lists, and we're trying out a pretty different, it's kind of a less rigid version of what Justin did at Nova, where I know he was really, really meticulous about how he built everything, kept every mission to 20 points, and you had splits across that. What we're going to do is play straight up victory points with it. Try to keep it balanced as much as possible internally with the pack. So, if there's a mission that's that's better for having like a horde warband, then there's a counterpoint to that somewhere in the pack where elites should be able to get similar amounts of points on that. So a little less precise maybe than he's doing on it, but just a cool experiment to see. The individual games, kind of where we looked at it, like might not feel quite as like the win or loss might not feel quite as meaningful, but it's cool because you get to see like a very real projection of how you did across the tournament, based on those points and stuff like that. So a little experimental, but this is the perfect place to do that kind of stuff. There's low stakes, you got to play one game a week.
There's no stakes. You just have 2 hours of your day. That's it, man.
Yep. Meet someone cool, play a fun game with them.
Yeah.
And we all go, cool, let's do it again in a different way if we want to do something new. So
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so if you're new to Warcry, the program they're talking about is Tabletop Simulator. There'll be links. There'll be links to the Discord and in the show notes as well to where to get to the official Warcry Discord where all this is happening. As someone who's on Discord quite a bit, I'll say that the Tabletop Simulator doesn't necessarily do it for me, but I wasn't a big like webcam magic during the pandemic person either. But I see like at all hours of the day now, I can see folks in that chat room and there's people playing Warcry. And I know that what it's going to do is it's going to elevate the competitive side of this game quite a bit because people are getting all these extra games in and all these reps in. It's going to be like Kill Team where, besides the big tournaments, there's people playing TTS games all the time, getting all these reps in.
And it doesn't even have to strictly be competitive side, right? Like for sure you get to see what these competitive lists are doing more often than you would otherwise. But the structure we kind of talked about, and depending on once we get more people, we can do kind of a more play the same pack with people that are looking to get really competitive, and then people that are also looking to just be out there having a good time, not bringing these crazy tuned up lists. So you're not going to get matched up with Chimera and Plague Bears round one. You're not going to get matched up with these top meta lists, so the flexibility of it is just, it's truly incredible. I've already got like 20 ideas for just stupid tournaments that we can do where,
oh my God.
Trying to do a reverse one, like a reverse meta where you bring the worst list and you have to play against it, and whoever has the worst record at the end is the winner. So yeah, trying to pick the best models is a completely different strategy, but you're still trying your hardest to win every game. Stuff like that where, realistically, you're not gonna be able to do that in person, right? That's so much to ask of someone to go somewhere, spend an entire day doing it and stuff like that. This is just the perfect testing ground for so many different things.
We also get data streamlined super fast. We get
Mhm.
feedback from everybody
Yep.
super fast. Everything is done in accordance to what and how people felt about things. And yet again, like I think he touched on it briefly, the first international games of Warcry, like that's
Yeah.
awesome. I got to play against Itan, who's off meta musing. Like we have other people, War Game on Toast coming in. We are like directly talking to Salty. Everybody's stirring and moving and talking, and it feels so alive and so active. And even the people who weren't a fan of TTS, they were just coming in and watching games, having fun. Everything was great, and it's been really good. And we even ask in the beginning, do you need a tutorial on TTS? Do you need a tutorial on Warcry? If that's the case, Mike, myself, somebody else will jump in with you, show you the ropes, teach you, this is how we're going to do things. This is how it's set up. This is the commands for everything. And then hopefully have you on have you on there. We had new people play this round, and everybody was real cool with them. Everybody helped them out and then played games and just had a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not hard to learn either. Once you get it, it's a super quick download to get the mod, and then you pick it up in a hurry. I learned while I was playing my first game against the guy who ended up winning the tournament. Like I was playing against him. I learned on the fly, and it was super easy to pick up. So and like you said, if you need to learn the game or tabletop simulator, it's quick to pick up, and there's so many people willing to jump in and help out with it. So don't be afraid. Reach out if you need anything, for sure, if you're thinking about it.
And I guess another potential audience for this league is also going to be folks that are not living near like one of the hotbeds of Warcry, right? If you're not in Wisconsin or Minneapolis or Ohio or Northern Virginia or like Kansas City or Salt Lake City, right? Some of these other places, some of these other folks scattered across the world, you can still enjoy Warcry.
Yeah, for sure. I have 0 events near me locally. This has been my way to test, my way to talk, my way to just be engaged to the point where I'm prepped when I go out to tournaments. It's been a world of a change. I don't even play other games anymore. I used to be gaming WoW, used to be gaming Hearthstone, Overwatch, being a shill for Blizzard. But now, since TTS and like this whole community, it's been such an unparalleled event for anybody that like, hey, this is your hobby. You don't have those centers to go to. Well, we're your people. You just come and be with us.
No tournaments in your area yet, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that like the whole reason I joined it was because I wanted to give, like, I was like, if I can just give it some more people games and stuff like that. I'm so lucky to have the community that I have locally to be able to play. I mean, I can get a pickup game pretty much any day of the week if I really want to. And so many people don't have anybody that plays within driving distance of them on a day, right? So I was like, let me jump in and let's try to build this community with people that want to play, that are unable to play, and that it's just really made it so that, like you said, you can play when there's nobody else around, which is just amazing.
So before we get to your tournament, before that, October 21st, there's a Rogue Trader tournament. I didn't catch the TO's name, or I didn't write it down, but details are going to be in the show notes. In Yorktown, Virginia. So if you're in the Nova area, it's a little bit way down the ways as you're going towards Virginia Beach, maybe 2 or 3 hour drive. At Jersey's Cards, Games, and Comics. Tournament pack is going to be located on the show notes there. So again, another for the Central, South, Virginia, an option there. And then November 4th, we got a tourney at Red Seal Gaming and Matawan, New Jersey.
Padawan.
So that's
Yeah.
southern New Jersey, right? Right on the border, I think.
No, that's Matawan is central northish Jersey.
Okay.
It's up there.
So south of the city, but within distance of the city, right? And it's you and Gray in putting this one together, right, Rob?
Me and Kyle Knapp.
Oh, yeah, so that's right. Yeah, Kyle was interested, but okay, yeah, Kyle or Gray was interested, but Kyle, the Flesh Eater Courts player.
Yeah, the Royal Beast dude. He and I wanted to come together. We met each other at Atlanta ACO. We've been playing ever since then together. We played together at Nova. We played here, and we're like, you know what? We're tired of not having anything with us. Red Seal Gaming is a really spectacular place, very accommodating, clean. They have lockers you could borrow for the day. And you go in, we talk to them, and we're gonna have a nice tournament that starts at 11:30, 4 rounds. Same, very similar setup to you. We have 3 blessings, no monsters. You could flex the blessings. We didn't want to get out of hand. We have a big need for new players around that area, so we didn't want it to be imposing. So we're doing a mix of core and rumble pack missions with secondaries to balance out. So if you want to go and do elite or you want to play horde, you'll be able to do both comfortably without feeling at a disadvantage. We really want people to just bring the warband they want to, and it's going to be a good time. And we really just want people to. We have good prize support already set up, and we have permission. We're just trying to get the word out now.
Yeah, good mix of missions. And again, if you're in an area where you don't have in-person Warcry, do what if you can, if you get some terrain, you can start small, like 2 or 3 boards will probably be all you need to start with. Most of my tournaments are only like 6 players a lot of times, so you don't really need a lot to get started, but you can be the change in your area for bringing Warcry to your area.
If you build it right,
if you build
they
it, they will come. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. No, we're really excited for it. It's going to be awesome.
All right, and then last but not least, this is a little bit far out. This is December 9th through 10th, the Antor Supply at Everwinter Con. So there's a gaming convention in Boston, Massachusetts. Actually, it's in the kind of on the outskirts of Boston and Waltham, where I used to live. And Nuno is putting this on. If you guys know Nuno,
nice.
yeah. The king of Warcry narrative.
Yeah.
So he's putting on this event here. Again, description for the Tourney pack is going to be in the show notes. But optional to bring a display board for your warband. Bring at least 1,300 points worth of stuff. So there's going to be some sort of like progression to this. Nuno goes way deep on the crazy narrative stuff.
He's a wild man. He gets weird in the most fun way. I haven't played any of his, but I'm always reading up on him, and I wish I could be nearer to him.
Yep. So he's putting this together. It's gonna be a great event. And check this out. If any listeners are interested in going, post in the comments, because Nuno has been so gracious. We've got our first official sponsorship in a way. Nuno has been gracious enough to give me a bunch of passes for the Everwinter Con to give out to listeners if you're going to be coming and playing in this Warcry narrative event. Dang. So post up in the comments. This is not a drill. We have our first channel giveaway. Post up in the comments. Do something along the lines of, what do you like about narrative Warcry? And if you want to be, and I got plenty of these to give out, but if you want a chance at that, put that in the comments there, get some engagement on there, and I'm gonna raffle off as many as I have of these con passes to get you free entrance to the convention, so you can go enjoy that. So there's one less thing you have to worry about. You get the hotel, the road trip, the gas. I can't cover that, but I can get you into the con if you comment on this video on YouTube. How's that?
Warren, let me
That's
know when this
wild.
goes up. Might have to
awesome.
make that trip. Got some comments to
That's
write.
amazing.
That's
It's
super
very,
cool.
it's very, very tempting to me. I have friends in Boston I haven't seen in a while. It's very tempting for me to go, but I think I have another commitment that weekend.
That's right
And
after your tournament, right? That's the weekend after your tournament too, right?
It's the weekend after my tournament, so it's a lot of stuff going on. There's also a Magic event in Pittsburgh I'm looking at, hanging out with some friends there too. And I'm also traveling for the holidays. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on, but I really want to.
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
That is, I've yet to play a game of narrative, and it's something that everybody's been talking about that seems so wonderful, and it's something I really kind of just want to dig in, and you just sold me so hard on it. And I kind of really want to see if I can clear some time up to go to Boston in December, which sounds awesome.
It's that, or it's Adepticon in the spring.
Mhm.
The Dogs of Warcry do it up right too.
They've
I
been
gotta check
working
that out.
on some stuff. I know they met up the other night. They've been laying the plans. Haven't heard anything about it yet, but I know they're always brewing some fun stuff. Yeah, narrative you can have a really good time with.
This brings us to a close for this episode of Dayton Warcry Club. We'll be back next time, and I'm not quite sure what we'll talk about, so let me lay down a hobby challenge. We have October coming up, and I have not been doing a lot of hobby. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to be asked around on Discord to see folks' October picks, and I'm going to get started on my Iron Jaws, and it's my goal to try to actually get some work done on my Iron Jaws next month. So hopefully we get to see something from the listeners, from the viewers out there, and maybe something from Mike and Rob there.
Gonna have to build a few models up. Gotta buy those brand new boys.
We're always. I got a couple boxes of them coming in the mail. We're ready for October. It was hot work boy summer. We're going into October. It's never ending.
Just don't expect anything from me until what it'll be October 31st at 11:55. That's when I'll start painting.
Yeah.
Another topic we're also looking at doing. Zach had proposed something like teaching Warcry, so we might have a special topic and discussion with him on that. But in the meantime, you can always chat with each of us on the official Warcry Discord. Link is here in the description below. So when we talk about folks on the Discord, this is where you can find us all. I don't run this Discord. I just live on it pretty much 24/7.
I think we all three of us do.
I don't do anything.
You can find me there. I'm War Machine.
I'm Armor Enthusiast 7.
I'm Girth Demon.
Thanks for listening. What's that? It didn't start until just now.
It only came through for a second.
Yeah, that's good. You just lived under a train for a second. You're fine.
There you go. There's your B-reel. That's the post-show B-reel for you. What's that sound? Whoa!
Join me underneath this train for an evening with friends.
Oh, I got plenty. Yes, I got plenty outtakes now. Try this again here.